Hi, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this part of the video we will continue to explore Keycloak, taking a closer look at advanced configuration for the user access and role management, also in the RAM settings, user profile. We will just continue where we left it off from the last video, so stay tuned. Thank you. Now, when you have when you have the client of authentication tab on and tab on, when you have that one tab on, you will get the credentials, and this is where you get the client secret. And I will go into why we need a client secret at some point, but you will need this for various activities you're gonna do for your API. All right, so I'm gonna go into the the rows. So if we go into the rows, I've got two rows here. I've got admin and user, and these are the default rows that comes with Keycloak. I don't touch it, I don't do anything. What all I've done is make sure that I've selected my RAM and I've created admin and user, and I just want two rows of users, sorry, two rows of people, or users I should say, and these are the two users. So to create a row, you just go like create, you give the row name. My row, I'm gonna be deleting this because I don't need it, and you can put the description there, and then you just say save. Okay, good. Now when you have a users and you create user, so I have created quite a bit of users here because I've got a test which runs and create users. I've got an end-to-end test which create the user, so when you run it, it create the user. So I've got a user here who is called admin Smith, and basically this is my admin. Okay, and then the rest of them are just normal users. Now how do you differentiate these people from each other? Is let's take a look at normal admin. I have allocated a row to this admin user, and the one I've relocated to is admin. So I've added this as part of this user. So I've said this user is admin, and there's a reason why when we go to the backend we will understand. Just know that this admin is there. Now I haven't gone into detail what the admin does yet, but I know in the near future I will. Yeah, if we go back to the users again, if we take a look at test user, that's the one that I use a lot. Now to set a user password, the admin already has a password. I've set it up. You go into the user and you click on something that says credentials. So let me just go into one user that I probably haven't set up the credentials. Have I? No, I've set all of it up. Okay, so when I register them, I set all of them up. But if you do add the user, you want to set up the password, and that's when the credentials appear. So if you go into the credential, there will be something here that says, hey, set the user credential, and when you set it up, then you have a way to log in with that user. The role for this particular user is user. Okay, so you go into the user, you come into role mapping, and you say assign, and I'm gonna filter that out to by client. I'm gonna filter out by RAM rows, and then you select there. You see the user row is not showing because I have already assigned it, but the rows you will show here, right? And you have to select the one and say assigned, and that will give the row to that particular user. So this is the main thing I've done, and I've also done quite a bit of stuff as well. All right, so let's go into the RAM settings here. If we go there, and there is a section for profile, user profile. If we click user profile, we can create something what we call attribute. So I created more attributes like for addresses. So I create a street, region, postal, country. Go to create attribute. You give the attribute name, how you want it to display. You can play around this and then you see how it goes, right? And then you create these attributes. So I created street and I created country and all that stuff through here, and then you click on create. So once you've done that, you will have extra attributes for the user. Okay, so you can add that attribute into groups of attributes. So so when you click on street, let's say the one that I created, you could assign it to that address as a group. Okay, so I've assigned all that as a group, and that means that when we run it, you will see that all this becomes part of address, and that address, it goes under it as address group. Yeah. So the street is basically the first line of address, and then the region, postal, and then country. I can't think of anything else. But that is how I got that through. So that means that if you enable group attributes is here, so you can create a group attribute, and that's what I've done here. I created address, and then if you go back to attributes, then you could assign them into a group. So that's, I went to here. If you go to there, you will see that I have assigned it to address as a group. So when you run Keycloak and a user wants to register, you see under address we got a group of the street, region, and all that stuff. So that's how you do that group thing. Go back here. Yeah, so address and then that. So I think these are the main thing I've got here, nothing fancy. Another thing I would like to show you is if you go into the RAM, this RAM settings, and if you go to here and you click on this link here, OpenID endpoint configuration. If you click on here, you can get all the various settings, and this is, you will need this when you are working on your API and also configuring your API backend, your Spring Boot backend, and then any other backend, and various things that you will need this. So bear in mind that you can get that information from this endpoint here, or this link here. That's it. That's as simple as that. I have got my client, and inside the client I've got two clients. Let's take a look at the front end client. The front end client, purposely, you can see in the tab here that I don't have credentials here, and there's a reason why. You don't need credentials for this part. For the front end, what you need is just standard flow, because the standard flow, we're just using it to the user to log in. Okay, we're just using the user to log in, and then we do the rest of the settings in the thing. If you do allow anything more than, like if you click on here, or allow anything more than standard flow, you will have a lot of problems, and you will have a lot of problems. So this is what you do for that one, and it works, and I will show you that it works. And I've gone through quite extensive messing around with it, doing this, going through all these tutorials, only to see that I needed two clients. Okay, so I'm being honest with you. That's what you need. Okay, two clients, one for the back end, one for the front end. You've seen the back end settings, you've seen the front end settings. There's nothing fancy in the front end, except the main thing is, I mean, you've got the valid redirect URL, which is the same as the one I've set up at the back end, and then the valid post logout that takes you back to the home page. And the only thing you need is standard flow for this one. Yep, that's all you need. And then as you go through, then you want to save. Okay, if it doesn't work, then something is wrong. We set something up somewhere and it's wrong, and you need to carefully go back to it and find out what it is. So we've taken a look at clients, we've taken a look at rows, we've taken a look at users, we've taken a look at the RAM settings, and we've gone into user profile. We see all the user profiles here. We got the username, email, first name, last name, street, and all that stuff, right? And then I've also showed you how I created attribute. So one attribute that I created is street, and I've showed you that you go here, you give it the name, nothing fancy. And you know, for me, I think I will allow all these, but I'll come back to you in the near future. And you know, you have that profile, and then with that one, then I also showed you that you can create attribute groups. So you want to group some attributes. I've showed you that you can create one, which you create here with the name. It's nothing fancy. And then you assign those ones to here. Then you select the group you want to assign it to. Okay, and then if you do assign it, then when you come to the front end, you will have that group aligned, allowed on the, well, when you are registering, you will see that all these things you've set up and assigned to the group shows over there, right? Good. So the next thing we take a look at is the services, the other infrastructures or other backbone services. We just take a quick glance of what Mongo databases through the Mongo Express, and then we will take a look at Zipkin. We'll take a look at Eureka, how it looks like, and we take a look at maybe one few more. I can't get off my head, but that's it. And then once we've taken a look at it, we start looking into the services. It's okay. All right, thank you for coming back to my channel. Have a great day.